When you have a underrated first horror entry, then you follow that up with a sequel that takes notes from another great sequel called Aliens. That's when you know you're about to be in for one hell of a ride. Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I am here with episode 4 of Halloween Horror Review Season 5, and today's episode is going to be for the 2012 horror sequel to The Collector, The Collection, once again directed by Marcus Dunstan. So, what is the plot of The Collection? Well, we continue on right from where we left off in the first film, The Collector, from 2009. In this movie, Arkin manages to escape with his life from the vicious grips of the Collector during an entrapment party where he adds beautiful Alina to his collection. Instead of recovering from the trauma, Arkin suddenly gets abducted from the hospital by mercenaries hired by Alina's wealthy father, played by Christopher McDonald. Arkin is blackmailed to team up with the mercenaries and track down the Collector's booby-trapped warehouse and save Alina. Or Elena. Well, so how is this made? Well, since the first, you all know the first film, when that came out, it wasn't really the biggest box office success, but it made decent enough money to warrant a second entry. So the collection would be released by LD Entertainment, and it was quietly shot and quietly marketed like the first one. But after that all happened, the collection would be released by LD Entertainment on November 30th, 2012. When it released, like the first film, it got negative reviews from the paid critics, and it grossed over $9.9 million worldwide. A third film called The Collected was in production in 2019, got stalled shortly after, and it's still back in development. And I really wish it wasn't. And you're going to find out why later on in the review. Now anyway, as for my reaction to The Collection, guess what? Before Quiet Place Part 2 and Terrifier 2 released, I personally found this movie to be the last phenomenal horror sequel out there. This was probably this one, I think, The Collector is all phenomenally great, but I think this one is the better movie of the two, but I think they're both pretty enjoyable. I like this one better because, for one, it feels more satisfying, it gives better closure. It's kind of like the other half of the story in a way. You could literally watch these two movies back to back and just pretend they're like one big 3-hour movie. Right there. And another thing I do love about the sequel, it does take kind of reference of the plot of another great sequel called Aliens. It's a nice idea to do for a horror sequel, where you pretty much now have to take the whole battle, where you have to hire a bunch of mercenaries, take this whole entire battle to the Collector, to the antagonist this time around. This time it's a big war with the antagonist. To hunt down the antagonist and the threat for good. It's like that. It's a nice idea to do for a horror sequel. And while the first one's kind of a straight up horror movie, this one, on the other hand, this one goes more to action thriller, in a way. There's still some of the horror elements, there's still a lot of the torture stuff, but this one's more of an action thriller this time around. The first one was a horror movie. Like Aliens, this also kind of goes more into action territory. A good horror film does need to accomplish a few key tasks to be considered success. It has to draw the viewer in. You got to keep the viewer engaged. And you have to at least feel some degree care about the victims. And you have to be memorable, with memorable and interesting characters and plot twists. And this is one of those films that does have all of that. In The Collection, the psychopath killer is still interesting, and the contraptions he uses to trap and mutilate or kill his captives are really engaging. Viewers will some gore hounds will find themselves engrossed in this gory thrill ride that's as stylishly fun as this dark escape. There's barely much filler here, it just gets to the point. Every scene has a place, and none are really wasteful. And pretty much most slash, there are some times when slasher flicks can get a little predictable in a lot of senses, but not only this one per se, the collection does keep you guessing, and sometimes you could be wrong. Like with the first one, like getting the cops does work when they try, and it isn't like against logic, like here. And like the end, like, yeah, when it has the ending, which I'll get to also later, the ending is one of the best endings of any horror film yet. This film still has a ton of twists, like a one of the last seconds in the credits, like, where you're just left speechless right there. Like, all in all, like, this film, like, it redefines the horror genre. Like, not one thing gets taken from another film. It actually feels like an original sequel. It has terrific special effects, new elements like, yeah, this was made for like $10 million, and it definitely doesn't look like it was $10 million. And it has amazing camera use, and the kills look very pure, and they're not all over CGI'd. So, how do we start off the collection? Well, we kind of start off where the first one left off in a way, where you see a bunch of news reports, and it turns out the collector is actually a wanted killer all over the world. Now, apparently, like, he's well known to the whole media. In the first one, he seemed like an unknown guy. No, this movie establishes he is well known to the world, and people have to be on the lookout for him, and people are hiding their homes in fear because of this guy. This guy's a threat to this entire world of the collector. Right here. And also, you do see Arkin's wife, like, you know, like the last time you saw Arkin's wife, she was in debt to loan sharks. Well, guess what? It seemed like the loan sharks would kill her at the end of the movie because Arkin was now trapped in the collector, was not going to be no way to pay off. Guess what? It turns out she didn't get killed by the loan sharks and actually did survive and managed to escape safely because she's in the news asking the media to find where her husband Arkin is, and you see a picture of Arkin. Then you get to the real star of the movie, where you see teenager Elena Peters and her friends named Missy and Josh. They're going to a party at this club. Elena witnesses her boyfriend Brian and another woman. She then leaves the dance floor and enters this isolated room. When she's in the room, Alita finds the red box, and she opens it when she hears a banging noise, and she ends up freeing Arkin from the box. Alita then carefully opens the latches and releases and Arkin's released. And a series of traps are set off at the party. They kill dozens of partygoers. It's pretty entertaining, like, club murder massacre scene. Brian does try to escape, but he gets killed. Elena watches in horror. She then tries to help her friend Missy, but is unable to prevent her and the others from being crushed by an elevator, and an elevator trap the collector put them in. Then, the collector appears and kidnaps Elena, and Arkin does manage to escape by jumping out of a window, lands in a car, and breaks his arm in the process. So, hospital people find Arkin, and he's taken to the hospital properly this time. The last time he was about to be taken to the hospital, the collector ambushed that ambulance at the end of the first film. This time he's taken to the hospital properly, but because he has a criminal record, he gets arrested by the police. And like during this time, they're like under hospital arrest. Arkin is suffering like nightmares of his torture from the collector, from like what happened like during between the events of the first film, where he got tortured by the collector. He's suffering nightmares, so now we kind of see all the nightmares of how the torture all happened. And then is approached by Lucello, like Christopher McDonald's character. He's like Christopher McDonald's character, Lucello, Elena's wealthy father. He now comes in and announces to Arkin that he's hired a team of mercenaries to hunt the collector down and save Elena. Lucello implies that if Arkin leads him to the collector's hideout, he'll clear Arkin's record and he'll be free from any charges. So, Arkin agrees, and he leads the mercenary group to the collector's base at Van Hotel. He makes them promise that they will not lead him inside, make him go inside. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Elena, who is being held captive by the collector, she witnesses a man being tortured by the collector before escaping from the trunk. Then once the team arrives, Arkin does try not to go inside, but Lucello goes against the promise and forces him at gunpoint to guide them through the hotel. The collector re-enters the room and notices Elena has escaped the trunk before being alerted to the team's presence. And right there, it's pretty much another cat and mouse game with all these mercenaries and the collector trying to hunt them all down. Like, it's a sequel. It's a sequel that boldly expands on the mythology of the first and ups the bloody ante very aggressively. Like, the body count is up the roof this time. There's more kills than ever before. It follows a similar formula to, like, the Aliens, where the sole survivor in the first film now has to lead these mercenaries back in the mouth of madness the person escaped from. That's definitely aliens right there. That is aliens. And I do like, and I love that once again, like the first one, you actually get to have like characters you care about in this movie. Not disposable fodder that tends to get in a lot of horror films. Like you have a hero and a heroine. Arkin is our reluctant hero in the first movie, and he's back again in this one. And this one, he actually survived. It's not like those sequels where the protagonist is already long dead. No. Like, Arkin is back in this one. It turns out he did not die after all. It's a pleasure to watch him again in this movie. He's definitely a flawed hero. Yeah, he does some cowardly things, he makes mistakes, but when push comes around, he gets the job done, and he puts others first before himself. Right there. So he's still a very likable character. He's still the likable character he was in The Collector. He is vulnerable, and has a courageous performance from Josh Stewart. Emma Fitzpatrick, she's terrific as Elena. She's courageous herself as well. And definitely one of the few underrated female lead characters in a horror movie. Right there. And Christopher McDonald, yeah. Christopher McDonald is in this, yeah. Ironically, Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore is in this movie as a small role as Elena's father. Like, it's not much to really talk about, but he does get some stuff to do during the whole scene, so it's definitely nice. It's definitely nice to actually kind of see him in a Shooter McGavin in a horror sequel, having our protagonist lead these mercenaries to go kill the Collector. So it's kind of funny thinking about that. There's also this. You do get an epic battle in the finale with Arkin and the Collector, and you have some involvement from Elena. And the Collector, yeah, once again, they don't do any stupid backstory. They don't do any stupid plot twists with the Collector. You still know nothing about him. They don't give him a backstory in a sequel. Unlike a lot of horror sequels that tend to give killers backstories, this one keeps the Collector so anonymous. Like, you still know nothing about him. Like, it's not long to the film that, like, where the nastiness and the gore begin. You got outrageous splattery sequences at a nightclub in the very start of the movie. You see a entire room of ravers reduced to this massive block of messy body parts by a lot of mechanical contraptions. Like, yeah. Love that. Like, even with almost no speaking lines, like, this time around, the Collector's not played by the guy from the first film. He's played by a new actor named Randall Archer, but honestly, like, he also does well, and actually does also deserve credit for, like, the performance here. It almost does, to the point where, like, it almost does kind of feel like it's played still the same actor from the first one, in a way. Or, like, he still looks like the Collector from the first film. He still acts like the Collector from the first film. Yeah, they don't change the Collector at all. He's still the very same Collector you saw in the last movie. Like, the budget for the collection is $10 million this time, compared to the $3 million of the Collector. And that's just really shown well here. Given that the Collector's widely over the top gambit, like, one scene. One scene, like, literally expands the whole body count of the first film on its very own. And the pace of the film is very fast here, and it don't get much time to catch your breath from the bloodletting action. Like, they keep going and going with the fast pace. Here, like, this movie gets crazy with the gore. Like, one of the things that made the original a perfect watch was the character of Arkin. Most horror heroes and heroines are devoid of charm and personality. It's kind of, sometimes you can feel like you want to root for the evil protagonist. But no, Arkin in the first one was very well-rounded, multi-faced, and a very likable character, and you felt compelled to root for him and wanted him to give the Collector a serious beatdown. Here, he's back in the sequel. And he gets you on that side again. And after he gets double-crossed by the mercenaries, forced against his will to lead him to the Collector's House of Horrors. So, once this whole team gets to the hotel, the Collector has these, like, various people that he's kept and tortured. He pretty much lets them all out to go attack the whole team. Right there, he drove them insane with drugs, and now he's pretty much unleashing them onto the team to kill them all. To pretty much trick these people into killing the mercenaries, and the team now has to shoot them. Elena discovers another trunk and opens it, and she finds this innocent girl named Abby who steps out and pleads to Elena to help her before following her through the hotel so they can find a way out there. And while they're, like, wandering the hotel, like, Arkin, Elena, and Lucille's team separately, they encounter live humans experimented on and human parts rearranged to resemble insects. Because you remember, guys, the Collector the Collector was revealed to be an exterminator when you saw him in the first film. Like, it was secretly the killer known as the Collector. Yeah, they revealed that. It was an exterminator. And they're displayed in glass cases, and Elena discovered to have, like, this. Elena later finds out she has a hearing aid that Abby discovers, who claims to be the Collector's favorite. Is now reluctant to break its rules, so Abby screams at Elena is now going to get them discovered because of her hearing aid, and now they're not going to escape. So the two are separated when the Collector finds them. Then Elena and Lucello, they reunite, and they do find Abby again, asks to escape with them. But, like, Elena does remember, like, Abby pretty much now yelled that she's doomed and almost gave her collection away to the Collector. She tries to plead with Lucello to not trust her, but Lucello does kind of do a bit of a stupid move and allows Abby to accompany the group. Then they find a room with a small window that they can't escape through. They manage to see two homeless people outside. Like, right there. Arkin does shoot one of the men, though, because he knows that, like, reports of a shooting is going to draw the police's attention. Then Abby sabotages their efforts of escaping before being killed by one of the Collector's traps. Then the Collector does find them, and then gets really mad when he sees Abby's body inside one of the traps. So the Collector attacks the group, recaptures Elena, and escapes. So, like, more about the female lead, Elena. Like, Elena has, like, something about her that also makes her just as likable as Arkin. Like, she is a bit of a tomboy, but she's got some decent, like, she's got some very decent looks to her. She shows herself to be tough and frail when you first meet her. Like, she's pretty much smacks out her cheating boyfriend. Right there, finds out her boyfriend's cheating, and then runs off. And pretty much when she's one of the new Collector's victims, about to be one of the new Collector's victims, she gets thrown into this world, mutilate corpses and half-mad survivors. Like, and she, like, and then she hardens up, and then pretty much knowing that she also has to kind of help destroy the Collector in order for them to be her, Arkin, the other mercenary team, her father to be able to escape. When it comes to my favorite scene of the movie, Arkin, like, my favorite scene of the movie is when, like, around the finale, when Arkin's trapped by fire, meters away from Elena, the firefighters are cutting through the steel door, and Elena looks like she's gonna jump into the arms of the nearest man, sees to cut through the metal, but then looks back at Arkin, who's about to accept his fate as the fires are consuming the area. Elena has a change of heart and breaks down this, like, water cover that, like, the fluids then pour out. They drench the fires so she can grab Arkin's head, and the two are able to escape. Like, that's my favorite scene right there. That really solidifies Elena as a likable character. Like, Elena could just escape the place and just leave Arkin to his fate, but no, she decides to actually drench out the fire and save Arkin's life. Right there. That's another great traits of the character of Elena. Like, and there's sometimes when you make a horror sequel, there's sometimes when a horror sequel could try the same tricks over and over again to spook the audience and not realize why it worked in its predecessor. But here, like, the moments occur that do seem out of nowhere, you get blindsided with chills. And it's a movie that really decides to not really try to show you everything. You get to allow the looming darkness around here, and, like, you still have the looming darkness to kind of scare you, and the horrors that can be seen, and they're both very terrifying moments. Does inspire to be, like, it's upfront and it's in your face with, like, so many attention. It's like when you got, like, Marcus Dunstan back as director and Patrick Melton, like, they make this, like, psychotic sequel to their outstanding original, and they really succeed well. Like, this movie and the first one are proof that these guys can make a good horror film. The problem is they seem to waste their time. They were wasting their time writing too many unnecessary Saw sequels. Like, these guys may not be good at writing Saw movies, but these guys can make good original horror films when you have the right material, when you got the right story to tell. Right here, these guys can make good horror films. They just need the right material to work with. And the movie does work because of the unapologetic dedication to giving audiences everything they could want out of a horror sequel, where sometimes it does border on self-parody, but it doesn't overruin the film, and it still feels true to itself. It's still nuts, but, like, it's nuts by design, and everyone involved, that you could tell the whole production team was all having a blast making this whole sequel. You have a bigger body count, you have more ludicrous, crazier death traps, and some raised higher stakes. Like, it's a twisted combo of action and body horror. They're like, it's like kind of like those over-the-top sequels. Like, it could be compared to over-the-top sequels like Crank High Voltage, or in a way, like, and also could be compared to the more action movie sequel Aliens, which the Alien 1 was a straight-up horror movie. Aliens is the action movie. It's films that take what came before in their predecessors, and they give us, like, roided up, strung out, like, no holds barred follow-ups. Like, it's like, so yeah, the collection, it's not only is it more of an action thriller, but it's also kind of one of those more over-the-top, like, crazy horror sequels. It's kind of what sequels like Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever from 2009, or Piranha Double D from 2012 tried to be like insane or crazy gory as this, but they both sucked. Like, those movies had gorier tones and more insanity, but those movies, especially Piranha Double D and Cabin Fever 2, they came off as more vile, insulting, stupid, unfunny in comedy scenes, horribly written. Well, then again, Cabin Fever 2 was studio interfered, and none of that was Ty West's film at all. Piranha Double D, well, then again, that's the Weinstein brothers, so that's expected. Also revolting, just horrid characters, and just stupid. This film, on the other hand, the collection, this had that kind of tone, except this film was still well written, it was still a horror film, it was still serious when it needed to be, it was still fun, crazy, epic, there was good direction, it was smart and knew what it wanted to be. Like here. Like this film, the collection, this is the good kind of horror over the top. Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever, and Piranha Double D, those are the bad kind of horror over the top. Like, honestly, Marcus Dunstan apparently did write Piranha Double D, but you know what? Instead of the Weinstein brothers, you should have got most of the people that did this sequel to do Piranha Double D. Or in a way. Or hell, you even could have got this guy to direct the Cabin Fever sequel. Not the fucking Weinstein brothers or Lionsgate. If he took notes from what he did with the Collector movies, even this guy, if he did it like these films, like this guy probably could have directed a much better Piranha sequel if the Weinstein brothers were not involved. This guy could have made a way better Piranha sequel than what the hell we got with Piranha Double Dicks. That's what I call Double D, as in Piranha Double Dicks. So, while the whole cat and mouse chase is going on, when police coverage at the hotel, the lights go off around the building. Unfortunately, after Alina's been captured, Lucella's been caught in a trap, and he pretty much demands to be left behind. So Arkin refuses that, but Lucella tells him to go. And Arkin and Paz, the only mercenary left, they find Elena strapped to an Odyssey table. And when they approach the whole Odyssey table, they end up trapped in a cage that falls from above by the Collector. The Collector appears and he's threatening to burn down the building in front of his 2 free hostages. Arkin's not... This is pretty much where Arkin's character development is pretty much complete. No, this time around, Arkin is not terrified of the Collector anymore at this rate. He's pretty much saying, "Come on, fucker!" He's telling the Collector to come at him, pretty much. While he's when he's in the cell with the other 2, this guy's not scared of him anymore. This guy's willing to pretty much go down, now taking down the Collector with him. Pretty much knowing that if he's going to go down tonight, he's taking the Collector with him and getting his revenge. This is where his character development really completes well. At first, he seemed like he was traumatized by the Collector, but no, he's not scared of this guy's ass anymore. He's no longer is. Right here. So Arkin manages to open the cage by having Elena re-break his arm so he can reach the latch and he can take down the Collectors. The core creator of the team is intact. It's fun seeing where they take the story. Marcus Dunstan, he lets his twisted imagination loose on screen, much like the original, with a sharp sense of movement and composition. It lends well to the material and delivers creative and captivating sequences of carnage that would leave people laughing and sometimes revolted at the same time. The script is co-written with Melton. It's furious and it's quickly paced. It's enough twists and turns. It gets shocking developments right here. It's some breathless action too. Now, we do get on with the finale of the film. And oh boy, they could have never, ever picked a more satisfying way to end this movie. So after Arkin's arm is rebroken and they all escape, the group escapes and finds an exit door to the building, but it's jammed from the outside. The Collector appears again. The Collector is ready to kill Arkin, but Lucello shows up. It turns out he escaped the trap. At first it looks like he died bleeding to death in a trap. No. Guess what? Lucello does not die. He actually gets out of the... He escaped out the trap off screen and he intervenes and he sacrifices himself so that Arkin can gain the upper hand. So Arkin brutally fights the Collector, beats the shit out of him, and then throws him down a chute and sets the fucker on fire right there. The building burns down, and the firefighters hear Elena screams, and they open the door from the outside, and and right there, like, at first it seems like Arkin, like, well, I killed the Collector, it's time for, and I'm probably not going to get out of this building alive, so he's ready to accept his fate. At least he took down the Collector, and Elena can be safe and escape. And it seems like Elena will escape the building and leave Arkin to die. Guess what? No. She breaks open one of the Collector's water tanks and drenches the whole fire out and saves Arkin from burning to death. And so both Elena and Arkin get to escape. So they get outside, and then Lucello and Elena embrace. They're reunited. Lucello's still alive. Elena's now safe. Arkin is now safe. And like, he sits, like, when they're sitting outside, Arkin notices a pile of trunks and he finds the Collector's burnt mask with no body, and it kind of seems like the Collector is going to get away scot-free again right there because his body's not found. So it looks like he's going to get off scot-free again, is going to continue his work. Maybe like eventually come after both Arkin and Elena eventually at some point. Maybe plot his revenge for destroying his whole collection. They could have ended the movie there on an ambiguous note. No! Did they end it there? Oh, no. Nope. Not yet. You get one more scene. It's sometime later where it's likely Arkin's record was officially cleared. He's not a criminal anymore. He's now cleared his record. It got his record cleared because he helped save Elena, like Lucello promised. So Arkin eventually does manage to track down the Collector's house. He researched every registered etymologist within a 200-mile radius of the last encounter. The Collector's unmasked. He goes into his house. He turns on the radio. He goes upstairs, but then the radio switches and immediately goes downstairs, picks up a small knife in his hand, and later he sees Arkin right there standing in front of him with a small pistol in his hand. He confronts the unmasked Collector. He's holding him at gunpoint, taunts about his father that apparently was responsible for the Collector's insanity. So this is the one bit of backstory you get right there, but you don't get much else as to why he's killing all these people. Arkin announces his intentions of, like, torturing, eventually killing the Collector. Like, he pretty much says, like, the Collector asks, "Are you here to kill me?" And Arkin's like, "Nah, that'd be too easy. First, I'm gonna make you feel everything I went through, that you put me through, and then I'm gonna kill you." Right there. So he'll never harm anyone ever again. So, yeah, Arkin's gonna torture the shit out of the Collector the same way the Collector tortured the shit out of him between the events of both films. And then he's gonna murder the Collector's ass. Brutally. Clearly painfully. So the Collector tries to attack him, but Arkin forces him into the red trunk. Slams the trunk the same way he got slammed to the trunk, yelling, "Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!" And, yeah, right there, like, just shuts him inside the same way the Collector shot Arkin inside at the end of the first film. Very same way. Kind of the same music playing in the background when that happens. And then that's it. That's the end of the fucking movie right there. They ended it very cathartically. Ends the story beautifully right there. The Collector's gonna get the shit kicked out of him by Arkin. It's pretty much gonna be perfect catharsis for every other person he's tortured. All the victims' families are gonna likely now have closure, knowing that the guy who's killed the people that were mentioned is now faces justice. He's dead. Right there. Fucking love this ending. One of the best endings to a horror movie ever. And probably to me the best way to end a story. One of the best endings to a horror story yet. Arkin's record is cleared. He tracks down the Collector after it takes a while, but he finally tracks him down. He goes to his house and exacts his epic revenge on him, trapping in the very same box the Collector himself trapped Arkin in, the very same way at the end of the first film, and now Arkin's gonna torture the shit out of him, kill him. So epic. The end. But sadly, no. Apparently Marcus Dunstan wanted to do a third one called The Collected. At first it got cancelled, but now they just announced recently that it's back in development. And pisses me off to hear. I wanted this to fucking stay cancelled. Because this movie was such a perfect way to end it. As honestly, I'm gonna pretend this is where it ends. There's no third film in my eyes because I don't want to watch the third one. It's like, yeah. It's kind of like the endings of like Halloween H2O, where Laurie decapitates Michael, and yes, Michael stays dead in that one because there's no resurrection. The post-credit scene with Andy and Curse of Chucky, which I like to pretend that's how the movie really ends. Right there. Like, so I just pretend the fan-made editing I posted of Curse of Chucky is how the real movie does end. The Collected needs to fucking stay canceled. Just leave this duology the fuck alone. Don't give us another Halloween Resurrection. Don't give us another 3 from Hell. Don't give us another Cult of Chucky or Seed of Chucky. Don't give us another Insidious The Red Door. Don't give us another Alien 3. Don't give us another Terminator Dark Fate. Don't give us another Clerks 3. Don't give us another RoboCop 3. Don't give us another The Predator. Right there. Or what else can I think? Other bad sequels I can think of. Don't give us any shitty Universal Soldier sequels. Don't give us another Matrix Resurrections. Okay? Or don't give us another The Last fucking Jedi. Leave Collector and Collection 2 movies. It's 2 perfect movies. It should stay 2 perfect movies. Don't do any more. But it's Hollyweird. What the fuck do you expect? Now, would I have any bad qualities where... Alright. There's times when the movie does kind of outreach resources, and you do get a few awkward moments and some unintentionally amusing sequences, and the effects don't really hold up well. There's some kind of key moments where you can see bursts of blood shooting out feet in front of people that get killed, or the blood tubes get attached to props because, like, yeah, it is kind of still somewhat low budget, but that is only a minor impact because, like, well, to be fair, like, those moments, like, they still don't impact the movie for me. And like from a few even if a few deaths would look shoddy because of it, it's like it doesn't ruin the movie for me because the Collection is still a very entertaining, very epically fucked up sequel. It tries to go on to craziness, leaves logic and realism. In a way, it's like, yeah, the movie's still fun. It goes like very quick paced even. It's still a fun blast to watch. It definitely is also not like the fucking Purge where we have the trailers for The Purge. It seems like you're going to get a fun, scary-ass home invasion movie with a very scary-ass concept with crime being legal for 12 hours. And instead, literally, with the exception of Purge Anarchy, a lot of the first film and all of its the rest of its fucking sequels are a bunch of stupid politic talks about either the rich or the upper class or the government 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 or the rich or the rich or the rich or the upper class or the upper class or the upper class. Oh, you know the upper class, rich government? Oh, hey, the government uses the purge to kill the poor and make, yeah, upper class, rich, 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 government, 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 government. You know what the purge should have been fucking called? It should have been called the government, not the sharks of the purge. Okay? The government would have been a better fucking title for that movie. And then the government election year. Or the first government for the follow-ups. Or even and then the recent one. The government forever. Yeah, the stupid stuff about the government and the rich is why I don't like the Purge films. The one I do tolerate is Anarchy, and that's about it. Seriously, I wish the Purge movies tried to be as crazy and epic as these 2 films. But instead, oh, you know the government and the rich? Yeah, the government likes to use the Purge to kill the poor so they don't have to give them any more money. Yeah, because they care about the wallets. Okay, I fucking get it. I get it already. I don't fucking care about the government, and not for the fucking government. Okay? I just want a fun horror series, a fun, like, gory horror series, like, with the Collector and the Collection. And this is something any of the fucking Purge, barely a lot of the fucking Purge movies, except for Anarchy, don't do. Okay? It's like Jason Blum must badly wish that the Purge franchise he did was exactly like the Collector and the Collection. I bet he wishes that. So other than like the resources criticism, would I watch and buy the Collection for your collection? Pfft, no pun intended. Yes, I would. So in the end, the Collection is totally worthy of being bought, watched, and bought to your shelf if you want to see the story fully resolve after the first movie's cliffhanger. Anyways, guys, that's it for my review of the Collection. If we're going to rate the Collection, here's how I'm going to rate this movie. So overall, if you loved The Collector and want to see a perfectly phenomenal horror sequel that continues right on where we left off and resolves the entire story beautifully, then I would totally also watch and buy The Collection for your home, no doubt. And if you're wondering how I'm going to rank The Collection, I'm going to give The Collection a perfect 10 out of 10. There we go, guys. That wraps up my review for The Collection. And we made it, alright, we made it through the first week of Halloween Horror Movie Reviews 5. So, our next episode, alright, Shadow Leon, the big moment you're waiting for me to do is long coming for the next week, to kick off the next week. You'll finally get to see me talk about Event Horizon, because that's going to be the next review. And I just recently bought this Scream Factory Blu-ray a few weeks ago, so I could do this review. So yeah. And it did come with a variant cover like this. Like, yeah. I swapped it to this one because I think this cover's cooler. It's like the poster cover, so I like that cover better, so I swapped it to that. This one's not bad too, but still. But that's the next review. Until then, guys, that'll be it for this episode. Thank you all for watching. If you like this, want to see more, and don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.